another day and another set of reports on High Speed 2. Yesterday saw the publication of a critical House of Lords report on the economic case for High Speed 2 that said it hasn't been made. Well, today, another day, two reports are coming out now. One calling for a tunnel under the Chilterns. That's going to be unveiled by campaigners, including councils in Bucks. And another government report is due out on the whole project as well. Ray Payne is a consultant with Chiltern District Council. He joins me now. Ray, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Lots to get through here. These reports keep on coming out. I think the interesting thing for me this morning, as somebody who's heard about this story for years now, is this tunnel going through the Chilterns. Tell us more about that.
Indeed. The first point of correction is I'm actually on the board of the Chilterns Conservations Board.
OK, apologies for that.
Not at all. Appointed by the Secretary of State. This is something that the four statutory bodies that look after the Chilterns, that's Aylesbury Vale, Bucks County Council, Chiltern District and the Conservation Board, have produced in the last 6 months or so. And it is an authoritative document which deals in principle with the notion of having long linear infrastructure projects through protected landscapes. And of course the Chilterns is in the way of HS2 as it comes out of London and heads towards Birmingham. So what we have in the current proposal is a 24-kilometre long tunnel from the M25 to just past Wendover, in comparison to the government's proposed scheme, which is 13 kilometres in a tunnel and 12 kilometres on two viaducts, two concrete box tunnels and a variety of embankments and cuttings.
So in a nutshell, Ray, this would hopefully save the countryside, correct?
It would, and it's a matter of principle. It applies not just to the Chilterns, but if you were doing something like this anywhere else in any other protected landscape in the country, then the same principles that we've adopted, we hope, would apply.
HS2, we're being sold this dream. It's going to make such a fantastic difference to our country. You can get on a train, you can go up to the north of the country a lot quicker. You're not buying that at all, are you?
I don't think we are. I mean, we're not objecting to HS2. The point that the four statutory bodies I just mentioned are making is that if something like this goes through any protected landscape anywhere in the country, then it is an expensive business, and it has to be done appropriately that recognises the protection legislation that's enforced.
But come on though, Ray, something's got to give. If you want to make improvements somewhere, we can't just stand still. Something's got to give, and unfortunately for those people in that part of the world, it's going to affect them. But isn't it, I don't want to sound harsh here, but isn't it just tough if we're trying to make a difference to the whole of the country?
Oh, you're absolutely right, and it's not so much to do with the people who are involved. I mean, that's certainly important. But the notion that the government has decided to have protected landscapes up and down the country, the point is that either they're protected or they're not. And remember also that protected landscape is not just for the people who live there, which is probably neither here nor there. It's for people like you and I. Yeah. I mean, I don't live in the Chilterns AONB, and I suspect you might not either.
I don't know.
But nonetheless, it is important to us.
Ray, we shall watch this report with interest. Thank you very much indeed. That's Ray Payne joining us live there. Richard Houghton is from HS2 Action Alliance. Richard, good morning to you.
Good morning, Justin.
Massive, massive local issue. So let's talk about High Speed 2. Can you see... Well, can you see any benefits at all from this?
I think I don't have to take my opinion. You can read the report that the House of Lords Economics Affairs Committee published yesterday, which you just mentioned, and they made it clear that there was no evidence for the need for HS2 in terms of passenger numbers, and there was no evidence that it was going to help the north, as you suggested earlier. So they said, and we've always said right along, is if you want to grow the economy, and because the southeast is booming, then if you want to grow it in the Midlands and the North, connect those cities together, don't connect them to London. I just think there's one point worth mentioning about the Chilterns. It is 50 years since we created the Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty. And, you can't... You either protect it or you don't. You can't protect it a little bit. And I think people may be confused as to what type of train line's going through. This isn't going to be like the Chiltern line. This is about 3.5 road widths wide. It's got a 12-foot security fence. It's got 12 concrete reservoirs to deal with the runoff on it. Each one of those has a road. There's about 2 miles of road to every mile of track that's going to be built in the Chilterns. It's going to be running from 5 o'clock in the morning till midnight, and the noise levels, because they want to run it at the fastest train in the world, are similar to being near an aircraft. So it's not as if this is going to blend in over time. And I think once you've destroyed ancient woodlands in the Chilterns, you can't put them back in. They've been there 400 years, and the associated wildlife habitat. So our view would be, yes, there's no economic case for it, but if you insist on building this because you're looking to buy votes in the north, or the construction companies are lobbying you hard, then why would you damage an area of outstanding natural beauty in the process?
Let me put this to you, because we spoke to our political reporter earlier on who said, reports coming out, it could be anything up to £70 billion this is going to cost. Now, you're saying to me, there's no economic case. Every single person I've spoken to in that part of the world says it's a waste of money, it's going to make no difference whatsoever. Why would the powers that be put themselves up there, and this could be a big mistake, to waste up to £70 billion of taxpayers' money if this is not going to work? Why would they do that? Why would they make themselves a target?
Well, they're not really a target. I mean, this is yesterday's report, I think, was the 7th or 8th independent report saying it doesn't stack up. But they don't have to listen to those. They can ignore them. I think it's important to understand how we got here. The Department for Transport ran a number of surveys around the need for high-speed rail in the UK at the beginning of a decade or so ago, and they all said there was no need. This is a political project. It was designed to provide an answer to the third runway at Heathrow. It was pushed through by a non-elected Labour Lord at the end of the Gordon Brown government. It was picked up by the Tories because they thought it would help with the third runway issue. Clearly, George Osborne, our Chancellor, feels it buys him credibility in the north, and he's lobbied very hard to make sure of that. It helps his leadership ambitions. Although I would say he knows it's environmentally damaging because he's organised a loop around the richest parts of his constituency, which is going to cost $600 million. So it's a political... They're doing it to buy votes and to encourage construction. I mean, that's the reason behind it, because that's the truth.
Just lastly, got about 20 seconds left. A lot of money being talked about here, and we have spoken about it for years. This is going to happen. When do you think this line will be operational by? When do you think?
Gosh, I don't know. They're saying 2020, but I think you're probably talking 2025 if it's built. But let's hope if they do insist on forcing it through, they put a tunnel under the Chilterns so it's protected for everybody.
Yeah, again, we shall watch that report today with interest. It's a development which a lot of people, I think, are going to be happy about, because that's a massive difference if you look at the figures. Richard, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Justin.
Richard Houghton there from the HS2 Action Alliance. If you live in that part of the world, we'll get your thoughts, but there must be somebody listening this morning who's jumping up and down saying, yes, HS2, I can't wait for it. There's got to be somebody, because all I've ever heard is people saying it's a waste of money.